Hey guys, so today you and I are going to talk about the pros of working in a no-name company. So let's get into it. So the question in question was, Frederick, what are the pros of working in a software company that is not famous like the FANG companies? Well, I don't know. The fact that for the vast majority of the FANG companies' teams, that you're doing the same thing they are doing. uh, that in most cases you're paid about what they are being paid in those companies, and in some cases you're actually paid more depending on what the role is that you have. These would be benefits that the likelihood of you being allowed to work on more broad things and actually being able to be involved in projects where you have a bigger impact within the company. That doesn't necessarily, it's not exclusive to any of the famous companies. That's usually a size type of thing of the company. But I mean, if you work in a small startup, odds are that you will have a much bigger impact on all the work that is being done at that company. It's something that you, once you have tried it, you will see what your preference is. If you want to work as a really little tiny cog in a very big machine, or if you want to be a very big cog in a small machine. And I mean, if you decide for yourself, of course, which one you prefer, but a lot of the enthusiastic developers are usually very happy when they feel like what they do matters and that they matter to the company. And I can tell you that if you work at, it doesn't have to be a FANG company, it can be any of the larger companies. Most of the time you don't matter for shit. And in many cases they don't even understand that you are important, even if you are very important. Large scale development at really large companies is usually not as glamorous as you probably have been led to believe. And the same thing is true for the famous companies. The idea that you have something to gain in terms of knowledge, in terms of skill development, and in terms of salary by going to a company such as, say, Google or Facebook or so forth is a naive at best viewpoint. Because, guys, the only thing that you can truly say about those companies is that they will give you a brand. That's it. The only thing that is worth having that you can't possibly get anywhere else, unless, now I'm saying here I'm raising my finger, I'm saying this, unless you are extraordinarily niched or gifted or doing something very specific to that company. Because let's not lie, there are things going on at Facebook and Google and Amazon and so forth. There are projects there that are highly specialized and they basically own those projects. Nobody else is building. I mean, as an example, nobody's building something like React outside of Facebook, or building something like Kubernetes at Google. And these are just like the ones you may have heard about, but they have many projects that are highly specialized. And if you are working on such a project, or you really want to work at such a project, then those are the benefits, and that is not something you're going to find outside of those companies. But don't forget, there are tons of other companies who are working on similar sorts of things that you that and that I'm not saying as interested, but are as interesting, but I'm saying that there are other companies doing a lot of cool stuff, guys. And this brainwashing that makes you believe that your life should be about getting into one of these companies, it's strictly due because it is brainwashing. It is strictly due because you value the brand, and that is a very calculated thing. I can promise you that there are companies out there who will make you much happier than you could be at one of the FANG companies. And I can also tell you that even if we're not just talking about the FANG companies, there are other organizations that have just as much prestige as one of those companies. I mean, do you think that the people who work for, say, the Linux Foundation or Mozilla, if we're now you probably, maybe you are accounting these companies as famous companies, do you think that they feel sorry that, oh no, I'm not working at Google? Because as I was saying, guys, the projects that you deal with and the experience, those are the things that are valuable to you. The salary and so forth you can practically find anywhere. It's if you have the skills and you know how to market yourself, you will be able to out earn. You have a higher earning potential across the board than if you just work for Google or you just work for Amazon. The only thing you get from that is, as I said, the potential to work on specific types of projects, and the biggest thing is the brand. But I will tell you a secret as well. That brand doesn't do anything for you if you can't back it up with the skills. The process is very simple. You come to some unknown company and they say you used to work for Google. That gets you in the door. That's the only thing. They're still going to test you. They're still going to evaluate you. If you suck at coding because I don't know, you managed to get an internship at Google, but you didn't actually get to work on anything that develops you to something useful, they're going to throw you out again. And the only thing you really have that none of the people who didn't work for Google but are still at your skill level is that you have you have a small little golden ticket that can get you faster and more reliably into the interviewing process, but you're still going to get the boot every single time because you don't know what you're doing. So what I want you to take away from this is that the benefits of working at a no-name company or any type of company that isn't famous in some fashion is that it's practically the same work that you do in the vast majority of the industry. I mean, it's not unless you work on very specific projects at the FANG company or in the Linux Foundation or whatever. You're still doing what most of the industry is doing. You're doing it at different levels and different scales, but every team. I mean, Google doesn't just have one project, guys. They have tons of projects, tons of initiatives, and they need varying levels of skills and different types of developers to do different things. And usually, it's the same rules apply as to practically all other companies. You have companies that are really, really big, and most developers, they either want to be in a really big company like that, or they want to be in a small company because they want to have a big impact on more things. And it really comes down to what is the thing that you want to work on, because the one and only benefit that you are guaranteed to get from one of the famous companies that you don't get you don't get as big of a boom. Some companies are semi-famous and you can still get that, is the brand. The brand of that you have worked for one of those companies, and that is absolutely useful. There's no discussion about it. That's why you even ask this question. The brainwashing into believing that all the engineers at Google are amazing that's the value of that brand. But unless you can do the work, all you have is a hand stamp saying, "Hey, you should interview me because I'm probably really good." And then when I interview you, you're going to have to back those skills up. And those skills are the thing that is going to speak for themselves. And those skills, trust me when I say this, can be found in many, many, many places. Have a great day.